Billionaire sees Maid's paralyzed daughter dance, then shocks everyone with his next movie under the flickering, harsh glow of the mansion's grand chandelier. An extraordinary scene unfolded, one that defied belief and blurred the lines between harsh reality and an almost magical illusion. Alexandria, the maid, had kept her daughter's struggles private, hidden underneath layers of strength and determination. With every painstaking movement, young Lily, paralyzed since birth, took tentative steps toward her dreams, all while the specter of doubt hung heavy in the air. But tonight was different. The air crackled with a strange energy as the billionaire, Richard Caldwell, known for his ruthless business deals and cold demeanor, happened upon this touching moment. From afar, Richard felt something within him shift. He had perfected the art of indifference, a mask he wore with pride. Yet there was something, an unseen force, drawing him closer. Was it the vibrant, relentless spirit in Lily's eyes? Or the soft, haunting melody from the old music box that filled the room with nostalgia? As he slipped into the shadows to observe unnoticed, he realized it wasn't just a dance. It was a battle against despair, a fierce reclaiming of joy that stirred emotions he thought long buried. Alexandria caught a glimpse of him, her heart racing. What would he think? What assumptions would he make? She tightened her grip on Lily's hand, desperate to shield her from judgment. The rich plateau of life Richard effortlessly sailed upon felt so far away, yet the music wove their worlds together, inviting him into a brief communion of sorrow and hope. Then, it happened. As Lily twirled, one leg wobbling but her spirit soaring, Richard took a step forward, his resolve beginning to thaw. An unexpected warmth cascaded over him, and for the first time, his cold heart felt the pulse of humanity. This wasn't just a performance, it was raw, unfiltered emotion. Silent gasps escaped the stunned crowd gathered behind him, a mix of shock and disbelief echoing in the stillness. Each breath felt electric. He was poised on the edge of a precipice. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The climax of this moment hung heavy in the air, a single heartbeat frozen in time. Then, with the entire hall waiting in hushed anticipation, Richard shocked everyone with his next move. Would he turn away, retreating into the cold embrace of his riches and power? Or would he step forward, ready to change their lives forever? As whispers swirled, and wide eyes filled with uncertainty, a single question lingered: what would his choice reveal? The stillness shattered as Richard's decision rippled through the air. Without a second's hesitation, he moved deeper into the soft glow of the chandelier's light. Every step was heavy with purpose, each footfall resonating like thunder in the quiet hall. The spectators leaned in closer, breaths hitching as they waited for the unimaginable. Lily, caught in her moment of triumph, spun in circles unaware, her laughter rising like music, intertwining seamlessly with the melody. Alexandria's heart raced, a cocktail of hope and fear swirling inside her. Would he mock them? Would he support them? Richard paused, the warmth emanating from him almost palpable. He knelt down to Lily's level, their eyes locking in an electrifying connection. For a brief moment, the world around them faded away. There was only Richard, Lily, and a universe of shared vulnerability. "You dance beautifully," he whispered, his voice raw with emotion as if he'd discovered a part of himself long buried. Gasps of astonishment echoed from the audience. They were witnessing more than a moment of kindness, they were unearthing a long-hidden potential of the billionaire, a flicker of life nestled within his hardened exterior. "What is your name?" he asked, his eyes sparkling like a child's filled with wonder. "Lily," she replied, beaming, the glow of her smile as bright as 1,000 stars. "I can't walk, but I can dance." His heart thudded, the truth of her words penetrating deep. How many times had he believed you needed the luxury of a body to be free? She stood before him, liberated in spirit despite her physical limitations. Unbeknownst to her, she was knocking on the door of his guarded heart. "And I pay for a lot of things," Richard replied, his voice lowering just above a whisper. He contemplated the weight of his responsibilities, the empire he'd built on the backs of dreams crushed. His eyes narrowed, a sudden resolve surging. "What if I could help you dance even more, Lily?" Whispers erupted in the audience. Was he serious? Was he about to change their lives forever? Alexandria stepped forward, some instinct urging caution. "Mr. Caldwell, she doesn't need sympathy." "We're just not sympathy," Richard cut her off, his expression steely with intention. "Investment. Talent like hers deserves the best. I want to sponsor your dance lessons. No strings attached." Shock washed over Alexandria, her breath caught in her throat. How could this man, known for breaking dreams rather than nurturing them, offer such a lifeline? A chaotic mix of gratitude and disbelief twisted within her chest. Could she trust him? As Richard stood, a small smile creasing his lips, the crowd erupted. Some cheered, others murmured disbelief. Wealthy patrons exchanged glances, their faces masking envy and intrigue, while others simply looked on in awe. But behind the surface, shadows flickered. Stunned silence twisted into an undercurrent of questions. What would come next? What might be expected in return? Could a single act of kindness unravel Richard's carefully curated life? Little did they know, as the applause washed over them, a storm brewed beneath the surface. For every light ignites darkness somewhere else, and Richard's choice would send ripples far beyond this hall. As the echo of clapping faded, a grim reminder settled in, with every chance taken, there's always a price to pay. Richard turned, watching as Alexandria held Lily close, uncertainty mirrored in her eyes. Did he truly mean what he said? And as the last notes of the music faded into silence, a chilling question hung in the atmosphere: what would his promise cost them all? The atmosphere shifted, the once jubilant celebration now tinged with a thick layer of tension. Richard scanned the faces in the crowd, each expression a mix of awe and wariness. The excitement from his moment with Lily faded under scrutiny. Who was he, really? The man who crushed aspirations or the savior who would lift them up? Alexandria's heart pounded. She took a step back, tightening her grip around Lily. Flashbacks of days filled with desperation flooded her mind. How many times had she searched for relief, only to be met with dead ends? This man's offer, so grand yet so fraught, could shatter the delicate structure they'd built. "Lily, sweetie, let us go," Alexandria murmured, urgency bubbling beneath her calm facade. But Lily, caught in a whirlwind of dreams ignited by Richard's words, resisted. "Wait. I want to dance more." Her voice chimed with innocent fervor. Alexandria felt a knot tighten in her chest. Resplendent hope hung in the air, mingling uncomfortably with the shadows of reality. Richard, sensing the struggle, stepped closer. "I promise, Alexandria, it's not a trap. I see what she has, what you both have. I want to help." His voice held sincerity, but his past painted him in different colors. The room shifted, patrons now leaning in, their breaths held, watching the tempest between the three of them unfold. "Why now?" Alexandria challenged, eyes dark with disbelief. "What's your angle, Mr. Caldwell? No one changes overnight." Her heart raced, driven by the instinct to protect. Richard straightened, a calm resolve washing over him. "I've been lost in the shadows of my own making. I've spent years surrounding myself with wealth and power, sacrificing much. Seeing Lily dance, it's a reminder of freedom, something I've chiseled away in pursuit of the hollow." For a moment, longing flickered in his eyes, exposed and raw. A wave of murmurs surged through the crowd, as they sought clarity from this powerful figure who had just bared a fragment of his soul. Some were swayed, doubt dissolved in the light of his vulnerability. Others remained skeptical, arching brows in disbelief. Tell us what you really want, Richard. A voice shouted from the back, breaking the soft tension like glass shattering. The crowd's collective gasp echoed. Richard's gaze darkened, the weight of lingering questions pressing down on him. He, too, felt the layers peeling away, revealing the real scars from a life of greed. I want to give her chances that I never had. Dance lessons, yes. I'll support her dreams. But I want to learn too. About compassion and connection. His revelation hung heavy, surfacing moral dilemmas. Could he seek redemption while giving? Or would it crumble beneath expectations? Alexandria's heart clenched. She wanted to scream for caution, to protect her daughter from yet another broken promise. But deep down, something stirred. A sliver of hope slipped through the cracks. Maybe you honestly want to help, she said slowly, her voice barely above a whisper. But what do you want in return, really? As the question left her lips, a silence pressed over the hall, heavy and charged, as if the very walls held their breath. Richard stood, the weight of 1,000 untold stories lingering in the air between them, but just as he opened his mouth to respond, a shrill sound pierced through the ringing of a cell phone, high-pitched and jarring. Everyone turned, attention diverted in an instant. Richard stiffened, his expression shifting from vulnerability to guardedness, the light of hope dimming. He fished the phone from his pocket, glancing at it as if it were a venomous snake. "Excuse me," he said curtly, stepping away. "I need to take this." The tension snapped, leaving Alexandria and Lily crumpled in the aftermath. What had started as a beacon of hope now flickered like a fragile flame in the storm. As Richard walked away, doubt unspooled in chasing shadows, leaving Alexandria breathless. What lay beyond the curtain of his past? And would Lily's dreams rise or fall based on a single, haunting choice? Whatever lay ahead felt like a crossroads, the path shrouded in uncertainty. With Richard slipping into the distance, could they uncover the truth before it was completely too late? The air hummed with unease. Alexandria's mind reeled under the weight of Richard's sudden departure, leaving Lily's joyous laughter echoing against the hostile backdrop of uncertainty. The crowd buzzed like a hive of bees, whispers swirling around her, aching for answers she didn't have. Her grip on Lily tightened as she felt the girl lean into her, eyes wide with both wonder and confusion. Alexandria's heart ached for the innocence of her daughter, so ready to believe in dreams, while shadowed by the lingering fear of betrayal. She couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Richard's sincerity felt like a thin veil, a mask over something darker. "Mommy, can't we just stay? I love dancing." Lily's voice broke through Alexandria's thoughts, pure and honest. It was a plea dipped in innocence, sparking a flare of determination in Alexandria. "Dance, yes," Alexandria said softly, leading her child further away from the crowd. "But sometimes, we need to watch our steps, Lily." Lily pouted but followed reluctantly, her small hand slipping into her mother's. As they moved toward the edge of the hall, Alexandria's instincts flared. She couldn't shake that something was off about Richard. Wasn't it too convenient? The soft chatter around them grew louder as people re-engaged in laughter and conversation, but in Alexandria's mind, it turned sinister. It connected to a feeling she couldn't quite put her finger on, the pull of fate. Just then, Alexandria caught a glimpse of Richard, standing at the far-end exit, eyes glued to his phone. The earlier traces of vulnerability had been replaced with a posture of unyielding focus. He was whispering urgently, glancing around, almost like a predator surveying its surroundings. What could he be planning? "What's wrong, Mommy?" Lily asked, sensing the shift in energy. "Nothing, honey. Just keep your eyes open." As they made their way near the back of the hall, a sudden commotion broke out. A tall, middle-aged man barged through the entrance with a cloud of energy surrounding him, dramatically tilting his hat. He possessed an air of authority, commanding the crowd's attention. "Hey! Is this where the big shots are? I've got news." He raised his voice, his eyes scanning the audience for recognition. You want a real offer? I've got your ticket to the top. His laughter danced through the space, a jarring note upon the fragile vibration still resonating from Richard's earlier revelation. With every word, Alexandria's heart raced. This newcomer's swagger was intoxicatingly bold, as he pushed past guests, eager to reach the center of the spectacle. "Marcus, is that you?" A voice rippled through the crowd, drawing every eye toward the man. Richard's eyes narrowed, the phone still clutched in his hand, abruptly forgotten. The sudden tension between the two men crackled like a charged wire. Alexandria could hardly breathe as confusion twirled in her stomach. Who was this Marcus, and what connection did he have to Richard? "I heard you were back in town with big dreams, Caldwell." Marcus yelled, a smirk plastered on his face. "Are you finally ready to face the consequences of your choices?" A gasp spread across the crowd like wildfire. The air shifted again, tension thickening, every heartbeat echoing with unspoken revelations. The words hung like a guillotine, each syllable dropping heavy with implication. Richard's expression morphed from uncertainty to something harder. "I'm not interested in your games." But Alexandria was interested. What kind of games were they playing? Games? Marcus laughed, a wild recklessness in his tone. "This isn't a game. This is life. It's about power, and you, my friend, are at the mercy of your past." Alexandria shuddered as the implications sank in. The shadows of Richard's past were crashing down. Every secret, every scheme, just waiting to surface. What would this mean for Lily? As whispers filled the room, swirling darker by the second, Alexandria held on to Lily tightly. She couldn't ignore it anymore. The tightrope they were walking was beginning to fray. What would happen next? Would Richard stand strong, or would the tide pull him away? The stakes soared, and they were caught right in the middle. With Richard's past echoing into the present, the truth loomed ever closer, threatening to shatter everything. But what would be revealed when the dust finally settled? Time faltered, and Alexandria knew they had to unravel the hidden ties before it was too late. The atmosphere crackled with tension as Marcus's words hung heavily in the air. Alexandria's heart thumped loudly in her chest, each beat pulling her deeper into the whirlwind of uncertainty. She glanced at Lily, who was watching the unfolding drama with wide eyes, still oblivious to the real stakes involved. "Mommy, who is that man?" Lily whispered, her innocence a stark contrast to the brewing storm. "Just someone we don't need to worry about right now," Alexandria replied, forcing a smile that felt like glass in her throat. She could see Richard's expression hardening, the mask of calm slipping away, revealing something jagged underneath. "Why don't you go explore over there for a minute?" Alexandria suggested, directing Lily toward a small group of children who had gathered on the far side. As her daughter skipped away, Alexandria turned back to the scene unfolding before her. Marcus stepped closer to Richard, lowering his voice but making sure each word sliced through the crowd. "You can't run from this forever. Your past doesn't just disappear. It finds you, and it's found you tonight." Richard clenched his jaw, the muscle twitching beneath the surface. "Enough, Marcus. We're done here." But the tremor in his voice betrayed him. The crowd pressed closer, each person straining to catch a glimpse, to piece together the dizzying puzzle. "I have news that could change everything, Caldwell. But it's not just for you. It's for your daughter too," Marcus taunted, his dark eyes gleaming with mischief. Alexandria felt her stomach drop. Questions fired off in her mind. What did Marcus know? What secrets did Richard harbor that could endanger Lily? Just then, something flickered behind Richard's facade. The way he moved, the tightening of his shoulders, it was as if he was preparing to confront a ghost from his past. Perhaps he had more to lose than she realized. "Enough of this." A voice boomed from behind them. It was Jordan, a longtime friend of Richard's, rushing in with an air of authority, positioning himself between the men. "What you're doing isn't right, Marcus. This isn't a show for you to exploit." Marcus shrugged, a serpent with nowhere to hide. I'm just offering a reality check. The crowd buzzed like a wasp nest, emotions swirling dangerously close to chaos. People were leaning in, voices rising, some whispering about Richard's past, while others seemed to side with Marcus, fascinated by the tension. Alexandria felt suffocated, drowning in the murky waters of doubt and fear for Lily's exposed vulnerability. Suddenly, a sharp gasp erupted from the back of the crowd. Alexandria's head whipped around to see an older woman pointing toward the exit behind them. "Look!" she cried, urgency ringing in her voice. The crowd parted slightly, giving way to a figure who made her heart race with a mixture of dread and recognition. A woman stepped through the door, her eyes locked onto Richard. It was an expression of longing wrapped in something darker, pain bleeding into the edges of her smile. "Amara?" Richard breathed, his demeanor shifting again, revealing a flicker of panic. The atmosphere thickened as the crowd pulsated, hanging on every word, every gesture. Alexandria felt the world around her start to tilt. What connection did this woman have to Richard? "Are you really going to deny me again?" Amara challenged, stepping forward, each footfall laced with an intensity that made Alexandria's heart race. Richard seemed to flinch, floundering between ghosts and consequences. "I thought we'd left this behind. What have you brought back with you?" The words dripped with a poison that settled into the air. Alexandria glanced at Lily, who was still unaware but inching her way back, drawn to the chaos like a moth to a flame. "Mommy, why is everyone so loud?" Lily's innocent query shattered the tension, eliciting glances filled with sympathy from those around. Before Alexandria could respond, she felt Richard's eyes lock onto her, a mix of pleading and desperation. He needed to choose. "Let us go," she urged, urgency clawing at her voice as the world began to spiral. There was no time to unravel the knot of confusion and fear. But with the sudden eruption of a loud crash from somewhere in the distance, all eyes shifted back, gasps erupting from the crowd like firecrackers. What now? Echoing dread filled the space as reality threatened to splinter. Richard's past was clawing its way back into the light, and it was coming for them all. What secrets would unravel next? Could they face the consequences together, or would it all come crashing down? Only time would tell. The loud crash reverberated through the hall like a gunshot, and with it came a wave of panic, cascading over the crowd. People recoiled, eyes darting around, searching for the source, for safety in chaos. Alexandria felt her skin crawling, her breath hitching as her instincts screamed at her to protect Lily. "Get down!" Richard's voice thundered through the din. He reached for Alexandria, his grip urgent and desperate. The world around them spun wildly, a jumbled blur of anxious faces and shifting shadows. What was that? Alexandria gasped, trying to keep her voice steady amid the rising clamor. Marcus, with an unsettling smirk, pointed toward the source of the disruption, and Alexandria followed the direction of his finger. A table, once filled with colorful treats, lay shattered on the floor, with food scattered like debris. The crowd formed a tight circle around it, as if drawn to a cauldron of danger. "Did you see that?" A woman nearby stammered, clutching her friend's arm. "That table just fell." "Fell?" Marcus scoffed, and Alexandria could see the satisfaction in his eyes. "Or was it pushed?" Before she could respond, Amara's gaze locked fiercely on Richard. "You brought this here, Richard. You should have known better." Her voice quivered with fierce emotion, each word an accusation aimed at his heart. Richard looked at Amara, confusion and fear tangling on his face. This wasn't supposed to happen. Alexandria felt the world constrict around her, the air thick with impending disaster. Where had this chaos stemmed from? And what shadows did Richard hide under that ominous past? Just then, the crowd surged forward as a man stepped into the circle, pushing against the tide of anxiety. Alexandria recognized him, Jordan, the one who had attempted to intervene earlier. His face was set in grim determination. "It's just a table," he shouted above the fear, raising his hands. Everyone needs to calm down. We need to get things back to normal. But in that moment, chaos morphed into something darker. The crowd's nervous laughter sifted into whispers, rumors zipping through the throng like a stroke of lightning. Whispers about curses, whispers of vengeance, each word a thread that began weaving madness into the night. Do they know what's happening? Alexandria murmured, glancing nervously at Lily, who had finally reached them. Her innocent eyes were wide, reflecting confusion that was too mature for her age. Mommy? Lily whispered, tugging on her sleeve. What's wrong? No, it's okay, sweetie, Alexandria crooned, her heart tearing at the sight of her daughter's terrified expression. She whisked Lily behind her, shielding her from the unfolding turmoil. Marcus, ever the provocateur, laughed knowingly. You can't protect her forever, Alexandria. The truth has a way of clawing its way out, much like that table. Shut up. Richard roared, his voice raw with a blend of fear and rage. It was a cry born of desperation, and it echoed loudly in the chaos. Lily's small hand trembled in Alexandria's grip. Just then, Alexandria caught a flicker of unease dancing through the eyes of the crowd. For the first time, uncertainty began to seep into their expressions. They were a mob drawn to chaos while their protector crumbled under the weight of history. Enough of this. Jordan insisted again, this time sounding less convinced. We need to get everyone out of here. Alexandria's breath quickened. We have to leave. Now. She urged Richard, her voice trembling with urgency. In that moment, a sound broke through the veil of chaos. The loud crack of laughter resonated, deep and dark. A figure stepped ahead, towering and confident. It seems the night is still young, said a man at the edge of the crowd, his voice smooth like silk, unmistakably malicious. The crowd turned, silence sweeping like a dark cloud over the room. Who are you? Someone whispered from the back. I am here for Richard and I've come to collect. Alexandria's heart sank as she felt the ground shifting beneath her. What forces had entered their lives? What darkness had Richard unleashed by letting his past resurface? It was too late to turn back now. Would they be able to face this new storm? Or would it sweep them all away? The atmosphere was electric with tension, a living, breathing thing that seemed to tighten around Alexandria's throat. The man's voice echoed in her mind like a doom-laden bell. He stepped closer, his shadows stretching like dark fingers reaching out, brushing against the edges of her fears. Who are you? Richard demanded, standing his ground while uncertainty danced in his eyes. The crowd, once a group of familiar faces, felt like strangers under the weight of looming danger. The stranger smiled, a slow, unsettling grin that could carve ice through the warm air. Let's just say I'm a friend of the past, and I have unfinished business with you, Richard. His words dripped with a sugary malice that sent chills spiraling down Alexandria's spine. As if on cue, the whispers rose again, swirling around them like a tempest, each breath carrying tales drenched in speculation. What could he want with Richard? Murmured someone close by, glancing from Richard to the mysterious man, their eyes wide, almost fearful. Enough of the games. Richard shot back, his voice rising, a desperate act of defiance. The man's presence loomed larger, and Alexandria could sense the cocking of a gun in Richard's stare, the dread of inevitability. I'm not here to play, the man replied, taking another step forward. I'm here because you owe a debt, Richard. A debt that must be paid. Alexandria felt like a deer caught in headlights, her heart thundering as visions of possible futures flashed through her mind, danger, desperation, and the desperate need to protect Lily. Don't listen to him, Richard. Alexandria squeezed his hand a little tighter, trying to convey with her grasp a sense of unity, of strength. We need to get out of here. Now. Lily, wide-eyed, hugged tightly to her mother's leg, sensing the unease that had descended like a thick fog. Mommy, I'm scared, she whispered, her small voice barely rising above the murmur. It's okay, sweetie, Alexandria soothed, but even she could hear the tremor in her voice. Marcus stepped forward, never one to miss an opportunity, his twisted smile morphing into something more unhinged. You really think you can escape your past, Richard? You've been running for far too long. Ain't that right? The stranger's eyes lit up with excitement, enjoying the unfolding drama. He's clever, your friend. But cleverness only gets you so far. People like Richard don't just disappear. They leave little breadcrumbs of pain and suddenly the past comes knocking. Shut up. Richard hissed, the anger boiling over now, but the man only chuckled, clearly unfazed. Such fire. I do love a spirited debate, he responded whimsically, drawing the crowd in with every word. As fear and fury intertwined in Richard's features, Alexandria's mind raced. What debt? What past? She could see the outlines of intrigue lurking within Richard's shadowy history, and every second wasted was another link tightening around them. Suddenly, the lights flickered ominously, and the crowd gasped collectively, a ripple of panic spreading. Get ready! Jordan shouted, trying to rally the people. We need to move. In that split second, the uncertainty morphed into outright terror. A commotion erupted, people pushing and shoving, desperate to find an exit. Alexandria's heart raced, she could feel chaos spiraling, and she clutched Lily closer, her world narrowing down to the two of them against this ominous tide. Enough! The man snapped, his voice cutting through the chaos like a knife. You can't run from this, Richard. It's time to face your demons. Alexandria's breath hitched as she locked eyes with Richard, searching for something, anything in his gaze that would tell her they could fight this. But the fear reflected back was a mirror of her own, and that knowledge churned her stomach. That in the midst of the crowd, the song of chaos, the sharpness of fear, the weight of the past collided, and Alexandria felt the earth tremble beneath her. As the crowd swelled with panic, the man's voice was a stark contrast, smooth and compelling. You will stay right where you are until we uncover the truth. What did he mean? What truth lay hidden within Richard's secrets? Alexandria's grip tightened, resolve flowing through her. They would fight together to confront whatever darkness awaited them, but as shadows loomed and dimensions of danger expanded, a single question lingered in her mind: were they strong enough to face the demons of the past, or would they be swallowed up in the darkness? The answer drifted just out of reach, like a faint whisper of hope in an encroaching storm. As the chaos unfurled, Alexandria's focus flickered between the towering man and Richard, whose jaw clenched with unshed rage. They needed a plan, something to break the suffocating vice of fear. Lily trembled beside her, silently pleading for protection. Stay close, Alexandria murmured, her mind racing. She cast a wary glance around, trying to gauge the sentiment of the crowd. Eyes darted nervously, whispers cascaded like a savage waterfall, but no one dared challenge the man's fierce authority. Richard! Alexandria called, her voice shaking slightly, yet fueled by a fierce determination. You need to talk to him. If he has something to say, talk. Marcus interrupted, his grin widening into something sinister. Oh, there's no point in talking, darling. This is about action now. The angry hero will have his moment, but in the meantime, let us face reality. The air thickened with tension, stifling any sense of normalcy. The lights flickered again, casting the room in flashes of light and shadow, almost as if reality itself was unsteady. Every flicker painted the scene: Richard, fists balled at his sides, the man smirking, Marcus eager for the show to unfold. Suddenly, the stranger leaned in closer to Richard, his voice a whisper that cut through the noise. It's simple. You can choose to pay your debts now or later. Either way, it's happening. His eyes glimmered, hungry for both spectacle and the confrontation he'd been waiting for. Richard's breath hitched, and for a brief moment, Alexandria saw a crack in his armor, a flicker of vulnerability that made her heart ache. What do you want? He finally demanded, his voice low but laced with a timbre of defiance. Oh, darling, it's not about what I want. It's about what you owe. The stranger kept his gaze steady, a predator reveling in his prey's discomfort. And trust me, it's much more valuable than you realize. Alexandria's heart raced as she leaned closer to Richard, trying to latch onto any shred of bravery she could muster. What kind of debt? She pressed, grounding herself in the moment. What did you do? The man flashed his unsettling grin again. Ah, but that's the beauty of it, dear lady. Some debts are weighed in blood, some in trust. Our friend here knows exactly what I mean. Richard's expression darkened, and the tide shifted in that cramped, frantic space. The crowd stilled, caught in that charged atmosphere, waiting on the edge of revelation. Her heart pounded a crescendoing drum that matched the panic swirling inside the room. Could Richard really have done something so terrible? Don't you dare! Richard snapped, his voice shaking but steady enough. The tension thickened further, wrapped tightly around them, squeezing tighter, threatening to choke any hope. Alexandria felt a prickling climb at the back of her neck. She turned, scanning the crowd again for allies, but it was as if they had faded into the walls, shadows against the growing threat. Her grip tightened around Lily, who clutched her mother's leg, her small face pale and scared. The stranger's gaze flared with wicked delight, and the fabric of the world around them frayed. You want me to lay it all out for everyone, Richard? He taunted, his voice dripping with menace. Remember, truth often has a way of including others, and you wouldn't want your little girl learning about her father's past like this, would you? The words landed like stones, heavy and unyielding. Alexandria felt fear clawing up her throat. She couldn't let that happen to Lily. The mounting dread threatened to suffocate her resolve. Stop. Just stop. She screamed, and the crowd gasped, their collective breath a whisper of shared apprehension. But could she even halt this spiraling chaos? Richard's eyes flared with fire, surprised, but something else flickered in there too, a deep fear that resonated with her own. We need to leave, he finally said, his voice low and steady. Now. Too late for running, Richard. The man's voice boomed, rippling through the crowd as wild glances darted, measuring the escalating stakes. Fear mixed with adrenaline surged within. Alexandria. She wouldn't let them drag Richard into this horror. We stand together. She shouted, feeling the pulse of determination swell in her chest, but uncertainty lingered menacingly close, thrumming louder. What was Richard hiding? What would this truth demand from them? The shadows tightened around them, and as the laughter of danger filled the air, Alexandria steeled herself for what was yet to come. What secrets lay beneath Richard's surface, waiting to shatter everything they knew? And as darkness beckoned, were they truly strong enough to face the storm together? Everything spiraled as the tension erupted around them. Alexandria's heart thudded in her chest, a wild rhythm against the threatening silence. She caught sight of Richard's rigid form, his back straight, though they all felt the same pressure, a weight of impending doom pressing down like an anvil. The crowd pulsed with shared anxiety, eyes wide, breaths held. Marcus stood like a king in judgment, taking pleasure in the turmoil. You think you can just walk away from your past? He mockingly challenged Richard. Little Miss Alexandria isn't going to paint over the stains you've left behind? Richard's expression hardened, but Alexandria glimpsed a flicker of panic behind his bravado. Shut up. He barked, but the words felt hollow, echoing against the charged atmosphere. Lily whimpered softly, clinging tighter to her mother's leg. Alexandria knelt and squeezed her daughter's hand, a small island of calm amidst the turmoil. We're okay, honey, she whispered, though every fiber of her being vibrated with the opposite truth. Enough games, Richard, Marcus continued, his eyes sparkling with a dark thrill. Why don't we entertain our guests with a tale? A tale of greed, betrayal, and the price of loyalty. His gravelly laugh sliced through the whispers of the crowd, swirling anxiety into a frenzy. Let us share your charming little secret. One the world deserves to know. Tell them what? Richard spat, but his voice wavered, revealing cracks in the armor he wore so proudly. Alexandria met the stranger's gaze, feeling the cold snakes of dread slither up her spine. She had to do something. You can't control everything, Marcus. Not here. Not now. She shouted, her voice cutting through the tension like glass shattering. Oh, but sweet Alexandria, isn't that the point? He grinned, tilting his head as if genuinely curious. I hold the power of revelation. You see, I have been waiting for this moment. The world will see Richard at his darkest, fighting against the shadows of his past, he taunted. An electricity surged in the air, thick with anticipation. Alexandria's feet felt rooted to the ground while her mind raced, strategizing, searching for a way to break through. For Lily, for Richard, she had to hold it together. Please, Richard hissed, his voice low and warned, trembling as if begging a chance. You don't need to drag her into this. It's my fight. Alexandria stepped forward, the barrier between them and the danger encroaching distorting her focus. Your fight is our fight, she insisted, her determination surging. Whatever it is doesn't change who you are now. We will stand with you, me and Lily. The crowd held its breath as if they watched a live scene painted with incredible tension. Marcus's grin faltered for just a split second, revealing the devil lurking beneath the surface. Such sweet bravery, he scoffed, recoiling with mockery. But understanding the truth? That's the first step toward your breakdown. He directed his piercing gaze towards Richard again. Let me remind you. Secrets take their own shape, and yours. It's a monstrous figure. Just then, a loud thud resonated at the back of the crowd. The chattering whispers turned to gasps as someone stumbled forward, eyes wide with terror. A figure emerged, their face twisted in anguish, just as the lights flickered ominously again, pulsing out a warning. Richard. You have to listen to me. The voice sliced through the chaos like a knife, and Alexandria turned to see a woman pushing against the crowd. There was something frenzied in her movements, an urgency that electrified the air. What now? Alexandria thought, heart racing again, a wave of dread crashing over her as the unsettling feeling of multiple secrets layers still hidden wrapped around her soul. As the woman shoved through, her eyes locked on Richard, something heavy settled in the pit of Alexandria's stomach. What new truth would emerge in the wake of Marcus's game? A truth that threatened to pull them into even deeper turmoil, but the real question loomed larger: would they be able to survive the revelation soon to erupt, or would they finally break beneath the weight of their pasts? As the mysterious woman fought through the crowd, Alexandria's heart raced. She could almost hear the heartbeat of the room, reverberating with tension. Who was this woman? What secrets did she carry that could unearth more layers of Richard's concealed past? With frantic energy, the woman finally reached them, panting and wide-eyed. Richard. You have to listen. Maria. Richard exclaimed, his voice unsteady, confusion furrowing in his brow. The crowd shifted, anticipation crackling in the air. Alexandria felt the swell of emotions from those around them, uncertainty, fear, and morbid curiosity. I know what Marcus is after, Maria breathed, her eyes darting to the shadowy figure of Marcus, who stood smirking as if he was the puppet master at play. He's not just here for the past, he's here to expose everything. You need to. I don't need your help, Richard interrupted, but his voice was faltering. It was laden with the weight of old wounds, and his body quivered visibly. You don't understand. I do understand. You think you can keep running, but being haunted only breeds more ghosts. He knows about Lily. A collective gasp erupted from the crowd. Alexandria tensed, instinctively shielding Lily with her body as her heart plummeted. What does he want with Lily? She demanded, fists clenched. He wants to break you, Maria said, her gaze fixed on Richard. Expose your deepest fears, and in doing so, rip apart your chances to truly live again. No. Alexandria cried out, her voice cutting through the onset of panic. She's just a child. Exactly. Maria shot back, eyes blazing. Richard's past may come crashing down, but Lily? She's innocent in all this. You must stop letting these shadows control your life. Fight back. Richard stood silent, his jaw clenched as if wrestling with demons only he could see. The aura of the room shifted, the crowd seemed to lean in, hanging on to every word as if it could spell the difference between hope and despair. "I'll fight for her," he finally said, his voice steadying. "But I need to know what I'm up against. I can't let another secret unravel my life and take her down with me." "Then face your truth, Richard," Maria urged. "Embrace the past instead of running from it. It's your turn to dance without fear. Is that it?" Marcus stepped forward, laughter rolling like thunder. "A little pep talk. Richard doesn't know how to dance anymore. And believe me, he's terrible at facing his demons." "Shut it." Alexandria turned, fury igniting within her. "You don't hold the cards here. Enough of your games. If it's a fight you want, then we'll fight together." The crowd erupted at Alexandria's declaration, a collective roar of support echoing through the grand hall. Hearts surged, lifted by the raw, unyielding connection blossoming between them. Richard looked at her, and something in their shared gaze ignited a spark, a dawning realization that they could face whatever darkness was ahead. Richard stepped toward Marcus, determination framing his posture. "You think you can bring me down? Think again. You'll never lay a finger on my daughter, on any of us." His eyes were fierce and alive, full of the promise of self-discovery, bound to be tested yet again. "I'll make you pay for that," Marcus hissed, but the threat was empty now, a shadow of its former self. "Don't you get it?" Richard countered, voice steady. "You can't take a man's soul by dragging him through the mud. You can only free it. I'm no longer afraid of what I once was." The crowd surged with energy, bolstered by Richard's words. Whispers of support flowed, and as the wronged past collided with hope, Alexandria felt the fear in her chest crumbling to dust. "I will not be part of your twisted game," Richard shouted, strength flooding him like sunlight breaking through a storm. "You've come for answers, Marcus. Then let us see what happens when I finally speak my truth. When I take back control." With that, he turned to the audience, inviting their strength as allies. "Let us shatter the chains of intimidation together." And in that moment, something magnificent happened. The walls of doubt crumbled, and the once silent spectators began to rally, voices rising high in support. They called out, names and faces joining into one unyielding force against the looming tide. Alexandria's heart soared. Together, they could confront the storms in their lives. She pulled Lily closer, feeling hope wash over them like a cleansing wave. Richard turned, taking a step closer to them. "You were right, Maria," he said softly. "It's time to reclaim what was lost. Together." Alexandria shouted, eyes bright with a mix of resolve and fierce loyalty, "Together." The word echoed in the hearts gathered there, as one by one, they began to back Richard against the darkness preparing to swallow everything whole. With voices rising in a chorus of defiance, they formed a wall against uncertainty. And they held fast, prepared to face whatever battles lurked in the mist ahead. Richard's past could no longer control him, they would fight as one for Lily's future. The moment transformed, the darkness felt less menacing with the warmth of collective courage shining bright. And as Marcus stepped back, sensing his hold slipping, Richard's moment finally arrived. He would confront his past, and nothing could quell the spirit that now blazed to life. They were ready to rise above, ready to reclaim their lives, and ready to conquer whatever horrors awaited them. Together, with a final breath, Alexandria glanced at Richard, her heart swelling with an unbreakable bond. "Whatever comes, we stand united." And through the chaos, the flickering light began to burn brighter, illuminating the shadows lurking behind, casting a warm glow of hope over the horizon. Now it's your turn. If you've been swept away by this gripping story, you need to subscribe immediately so you don't miss the next exclusive tales coming your way. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Let us light up the comments section with your reactions and theories about tonight's conclusion. And don't wait even one more second, share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see how this captivating story unfolds before the final curtain falls. Your support matters more than you think.